Hello, my project is on the article titled Using the Flipped Classroom Design, Student Impressions and Lessons Learned. The authors are Sarah Cummins Sabri and Elia White. Next slide. The first quote I used, this project was to determine student perceptions on the flipped classroom structure used for a research methods and statistics and psychology course. And this quote essentially sums up the purpose of the study, which was to determine whether or not the students benefited from a flipped classroom format. Next slide. Collectively, about 2/3 of the students who completed the survey approved of the flipped classroom design. Next slide. This basically is saying that the results were overall good. The majority of the students believed that the flipped classroom format was indeed beneficial. Next slide. The hypothesis of the paper was to understand whether or not students, to determine whether or not students believed that the flipped classroom format was beneficial, which it turns out that it was. The next slide. The researchers studied approximately 48 students. They started out with 50, and 2 students dropped the class before the survey was conducted. And their population came from a psychology class that was being offered at the university. Next slide. The dependent variables, I believe, were flipped classroom format and the adaptability of the students. Next slide. As I said, it was 48 students from 2 separate classes, and the specific name of the course was Research Methods and Statistics 1. Next slide. The survey that they used did contain 18 Likert-based questions and 4 open-ended questions. Next slide. The hypothesis was supported as students, the majority of students overall believed that the flipped classroom format was more beneficial than the traditional format. Next slide. As a conclusion, the students were more prepared when coming to class because they had time outside of the classroom to watch the videos. If they didn't understand what was being said in the video, they could re-watch it until they formed an understanding of the content being covered in the video. And also, as a result of the survey, they are going to continue to implement flipped classrooms at their university because of its success rate. Next slide. One limitation that was mentioned in the article was that in addition to professors having to do professorial duties, grade tests and have office hours and things of that nature, they also have to create these videos and podcasts for the students to use in the flipped classroom format, which might be somewhat of a drawback. Next slide. And that is the conclusion of my presentation. Thank you.